Hey, it's Elena. Revenge Shift tells stories you won't forget. Subscribe if you're ready. Let's begin. The Realtor arrived at 2 p.m. on a Saturday, exactly as scheduled. Her name was Patricia Monroe, and she carried a leather portfolio that probably cost more than my first car. She wore a blazer that screamed, "I close million-dollar deals before lunch," and a smile that said she'd done this 1,000 times. My parents stood in my living room, the living room of the house I'd purchased 3 years ago with money I'd saved for 7 years, flanking my brother like proud bodyguards. My brother Derek, 26 years old, unemployed for the past 18 months, grinned like he just won the lottery. In a way, he had. "Thank you all for being so prompt," Patricia said, setting her portfolio on my coffee table, the same coffee table I'd refinished myself after finding it at an estate sale. "This should be straightforward. A family gift deed transfer. Very common, very simple." My mother, Helen, practically vibrated with excitement. She'd been planning this moment for 3 weeks, ever since Derek's girlfriend left him and he'd moved back into their house. "Our daughter is so generous," she announced to Patricia, as if I weren't standing 10 feet away. "She has this big house all to herself, and Derek really needs a fresh start." "It's a beautiful home," Patricia agreed, glancing around. She had no idea she was standing in the middle of a hostage situation. My father, Robert, nodded solemnly. "Family takes care of family. That's how we were raised. Mia understands that." He said my name like it was a weapon, like invoking it would make me compliant. I stood near the kitchen doorway, arms folded, wearing my standard weekend outfit, jeans and a Stanford engineering hoodie. I'd graduated 6 years ago with a master's in biomedical engineering. Derek had dropped out of community college after 1 semester because the professors didn't understand his creative vision. Patricia pulled documents from her portfolio, spreading them across the coffee table with practiced efficiency. "Wonderful. Now, this is a voluntary transfer of property, so I'll need the current owner's signature on several documents. Let's start with the preliminary deed transfer form." She looked up expectantly. My mother gestured toward me like I was a reluctant show dog. "Mia, come sign." I didn't move. My father's voice hardened. "Mia, don't be difficult." Patricia's professional smile flickered slightly. Something in the room's energy was registering as wrong. She glanced down at her paperwork, then back up at the family tableau in front of her. "I apologize," she said carefully, "but I need to confirm. Which of you is the current legal owner of this property?" My father pointed at me. "That's her, Mia. She'll sign." Patricia's eyes moved to me, really looked at me for the first time. I watched her expression shift as she processed the scene. The parent standing possessively in the living room, the brother already mentally redecorating, and me pressed against the far wall like I was trying to disappear through it. She picked up one of her documents, scanning it quickly. When she looked up again, her professional mask had cracked slightly. "Miss Chin," she said, addressing me directly, "the county recorder's office shows you as the sole owner of this property. Purchased August 2021 for $685,000. Currently assessed at approximately $800,000. She paused. "Are you willingly transferring your $800,000 equity to your brother?" The question hung in the air like smoke. My mother laughed nervously. "Of course she is. We already discussed this as a family." Patricia didn't look at my mother. She kept her eyes on me. "Miss Chin, I need to hear it from you directly. This is your legal property. Do you consent to this transfer?" I looked at my parents. My father's jaw was clenched. My mother's smile had frozen into something desperate. Derek's eyes darted between us, finally sensing that his guaranteed windfall might be evaporating. "Am I?" I asked quietly. "Mia," my mother's voice went shrill, "don't you dare embarrass this family." Patricia stood up straighter, and I watched her transform from cheerful closer to legal professional. "Mr. and Mrs. Chin, I need to speak with MS Chin privately. It's standard protocol for transfers of this magnitude." "That's not necessary," my father started. "It's legally required," Patricia interrupted, her voice polite but absolute. "4 voluntary transfers exceeding $500,000. I must verify consent without family pressure present. California Real Estate Law, Section 112.6. I had no idea if that code was real or if Patricia had just invented it, but it sounded official enough that my father backed down. "Fine," he snapped. "Derek, let's wait in the car." My mother looked like she wanted to argue, but my father grabbed her arm and steered her toward the door. Derek followed, shooting me a confused look over his shoulder. The front door closed. Patricia and I stood in silence for exactly 5 seconds. Then she set down our portfolio and looked at me. "Miss Chin, do you want to transfer this house to your brother?" "No," I said. The word came out stronger than I expected. Patricia nodded once. Do your parents know that? They don't care. He was quiet for a moment, studying me. How long have they been planning this? 3 weeks of logistics, 29 years of expectation. I was 7 years old when I learned I was the family's spare parts. Derek was 9 and he'd crashed his bike, the expensive one my parents had saved for months to buy him. He'd been showing off, riding with no hands down our steep driveway, and he'd face-planted into the mailbox. Broken arm, fractured wrist, at the hospital. While my mother fussed over Derek and my father paced angrily about the cost, a nurse asked if I wanted a sticker. I was standing in the corner of the room, invisible. She's fine, my mother had said dismissively. She didn't get hurt, but I'd been riding right behind Derek when he crashed. I'd swerved and scraped my knee badly enough that my jeans had blood soaking through. The nurse noticed and knelt down to check. Oh, sweetie, let's clean that up. She's fine, my mother repeated. Sharper this time. We're here for Derek. The nurse cleaned my knee anyway, but I learned the lesson. Derek's broken bones mattered. My bleeding didn't. For the next 22 years, that dynamic held. When Derek wanted to go to private high school, my parents took out a second mortgage. When I wanted to take the SAT prep course that cost $400, I was told to just study harder on your own. When Derek decided he wanted to be a filmmaker, my parents bought him a $3,000 camera setup. When I got accepted to Stanford with partial scholarship, they told me to take out loans because you'll make more money with an engineering degree anyway, so you can afford to pay them back. I paid $127,000 in student loans. Derek's camera equipment sat in the garage and used gathering dust. When Derek wanted to start a production company, my parents gave him $50,000 of their retirement savings. He produced exactly 0 films and spent it all in 18 months. When I wanted to buy my first house, I asked if they could lend me $10,000 for closing costs. They said no. They were financially recovering from helping Derek get established. I saved for 7 years. I worked 60-hour weeks at a medical device startup, lived with roommates until I was 28, drove a car held together with prayer and duct tape. I ate ramen. I skipped vacations. I bought my clothes at thrift stores. I saved $150,000 for a down payment. In August 2021, I bought this house, a 1,400 square FT 3-bedroom Craftsman in a neighborhood that was just starting to gentrify. It needed work. The kitchen was stuck in 1987. The bathroom tiles were cracked. The backyard was a jungle, but it was mine. I'd spent 3 years turning it into a home. I'd retiled the bathroom myself, watching YouTube tutorials until 2 a.m. I'd renovated the kitchen with help from a contractor friend who gave me a deal because I'd helped him with his company's FDA compliance paperwork. I'd landscaped the backyard, planted a vegetable garden, built a deck. I'd increased the property value by $115,000, and now my parents wanted to gift it to Derek. Patricia sat down on my couch, the couch I'd bought with my own money, and pulled out a different set of papers from her portfolio. Miss Chin, I'm going to be dire CT with you. What your parents are attempting to do is legal, but only if you consent. Without your signature, this transfer cannot happen. They'll disown me, I said. Maybe they'll tell the entire family I'm selfish and ungrateful. Probably. Derek will hate me forever. Patricia looked at me evenly. Miss Chin, how much do you pay monthly for this house? $3,200. Mortgage, property tax, insurance, HOA fees, and your brother. If you transfer this house to him, who will pay those costs? I laughed bitterly. Derek hasn't held a job in 18 months. So, your parents expect you to transfer $800,000 in equity, and then what? Let your brother live here rent-free while you pay the mortgage on a house you no longer own? Hearing her say it out loud made it sound even more insane than it had in my head. They haven't thought that far ahead, I said. Or they have, Patricia countered. And they expect you to keep paying. He was right. I knew she was right. My parents had probably assumed I'd continue covering the mortgage just until Derek gets back on his feet, which would somehow stretch into forever. I'd live in an apartment somewhere, working my 60-hour weeks, paying for a house my brother lived in rent-free, the pedestal holding up the statue. Patricia leaned forward. Miss Chen, I've been a realtor for 19 years. I've seen a lot of family property transfers. Most are legitimate gifts between loving family members. But I've also seen financial abuse, and what I'm witnessing today feels like abuse. It's just how my family works, I said automatically. That doesn't make it right. We sat in silence. Outside, I could hear my father's car idling in the driveway, probably running the air conditioning. Gee, while they waited for me to sign away my life's work. What happens if I say no? I asked. Nothing happens. You own the house. You continue owning the house. Your parents can be angry, but they have zero legal recourse. They'll never forgive me. Patricia's expression softened. Miss Chin, I'm going to tell you something my own mother told me when I was your age. Family members who only love you when you're useful don't actually love you. They love what you provide. The words hit like a physical blow. I need to think, I said. Take all the time you need. I'll tell your parents the paperwork requires additional verification. That'll buy you at least a few days. They're outside right now expecting me to sign. Patricia stood up, gathering her papers. Then I'll tell them I discovered a lien on the property that needs to be cleared first. They won't know enough about real estate law to question it. You'd lie for me? I'd lie to prevent what I believe is financial exploitation. Yes. He walked to the door, then paused. Chin, one more thing. Do your parents have any legal ownership claim to this house? Did they contribute to the purchase, co-sign the mortgage? No, I bought it entirely on my own. My name is the only one on the deed, the mortgage, everything. Patricia nodded. Then legally, they have absolutely no claim. This is your house, your decision, your future. She opened the door and walked out to face my family. Through the window, I watched Patricia talk to my parents in the driveway. My father's face went red. My mother's mouth moved rapidly, arguing. Derek looked confused and worried. Patricia remained calm, professional, immovable. She handed my father a business card, aid something else I couldn't hear, and walked to her car. My parents stormed back toward the house. The front door slammed open. What did you tell her? My father demanded. Nothing, she said. Said there's a lien that needs to be cleared. That's Derek shouted. She's lying. My mother grabbed my arm. Mia, this is ridiculous. Just sign the papers. Stop making everything so complicated. I pulled my arm free. No. The word hung in the air like a grenade. What did you just say? My father's voice dropped to that dangerous whisper he used when he was truly angry. I said, no, I'm not transferring my house to Derek. My mother's face went white, then red. Are you seriously going to be this selfish after everything we've done for you? What have you done for me? The question came out before I could stop it. We raised you, fed you, put a roof over your head. That's called being a parent. That's the legal minimum. My father stepped closer, trying to use his height to intimidate me. You ungrateful little, we gave you life. You owe us. I owe you nothing. Derek's voice cracked. Mia, come on, I really need this. Ashley left me. I have nowhere to go. I'm drowning here. For a moment, just a moment, I felt the old familiar guilt, the weight of being the pedestal, the crushing responsibility of holding everyone else up. Then I remembered the $127,000 in student loans I'd paid alone, the 7 years of saving, the 60-hour work weeks, the YouTube tutorials at 2 a.m. because I couldn't afford to hire help. Derek, I said quietly, I love you, but I'm not giving you my house. You, he hissed. My mother gasped. Derek, but she didn't defend me. She never defended me. My father's face had gone purple. If you don't sign those papers, you are no longer part of this family. Do you understand me? I understand perfectly. We will never speak to you again. Okay, you'll regret this, my mother spat. You'll end up alone and miserable, and you'll have no one to blame but yourself. I walked to the front door and opened it. I need you all to leave now. This is how you treat your family, my father roared, after everything. This is how I treat people who try to steal from me. The word steal made my mother recoil like I'd slapped her. We're not stealing. We're family. Family shares. Family doesn't demand you hand over $800,000. Thieves do. My father looked like he wanted to hit me. For a terrifying second, I thought he might. Instead, he turned and stormed out. My mother followed, sobbing dramatically. Derek paused at the door. I hope you're happy, he said. You just destroyed this family. No, I replied. I just stopped letting you destroy me. He left. I closed the door, locked it, engaged the deadbolt. Then I collapsed onto my couch and cried for 45 minutes straight. The call started that evening. My aunt, your mother, called me sobbing. How could you be so cruel? My grandmother. Family is everything, Mia. You should be ashamed. My cousin Derek told me what you did. That's seriously messed up. I blocked 12 numbers that night. The text continued for 3 days, a barrage of guilt, shame, manipulation. My entire extended family had been mobilized to convince me I was a selfish monster for refusing to hand over my house. On day 4, I changed my number. On day 5, Patricia called my office. Miss Chen, I wanted to check on you. Your father called my office. 6 times yesterday, I fixed the lien issue. I told him the property owner would need to resolve it personally. Thank you for covering for me. Are you doing okay? I don't know yet. If you need a referral for a family law attorney, I know several excellent ones. I hadn't even considered that I might need a lawyer. You think they'll sue me? I think angry people do unpredictable things. Better to be prepared. He was right. 2 weeks later, my father filed a civil suit claiming he'd contributed to my down payment and was entitled to partial ownership. It was completely fabricated. I had bank statements proving every dollar came from my own savings, but it still required me to hire a lawyer and spend 6 months fighting it. The judge dismissed the case in under 10 minutes, calling it frivolous and without merit. He ordered my father to pay my legal fees, $8,400. My father never paid. I never expected him to. 3 months after the Realtor incident, I sat in my backyard on the deck I'd built, drinking coffee and watching the sun rise over my vegetable garden. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello, Mia. It's Patricia Monroe. I hope I'm not calling too early. No, I'm up. Is everything okay? More than okay. I wanted to let you know I've referred 3 other women to family law attorneys in the past 2 months. Women in situations similar to yours. Family members trying to coerce property transfers. Financial manipulation disguised as familial obligation. Oh, I said, unsure how to respond. Your courage to say no inspired me to pay closer attention. I wanted to thank you. After we hung up, I sat for a long time thinking about that word courage. I'd never felt courageous. I'd felt terrified, guilty, selfish, cruel, all the things my family had called me. But maybe saying no to people who wanted to take everything from you was brave. Maybe protecting what you'd built was strength, not selfishness. Maybe I wasn't the villain in this story after all. 6 months later, Derek sent me a single text. Ashley came back. We're moving to Portland. Just thought you should know. I didn't respond. My parents never reached out. Not on my birthday, not on Christmas, not ever. My extended family slowly stopped taking sides as the full story emerged. Turns out when you file a frivolous lawsuit, people start asking questions. Some relatives apologized, most just quietly drifted back into neutral territory. I kept the house, I refinanced at a lower rate, paid off an extra $30,000 in principal, and increased the property value another $40,000 with a bathroom renovation. Some nights I still felt the ghost of guilt. The years of conditioning don't disappear overnight. But then I'd walk through my home, my beautiful, hard-earned home, and remember, I built this. I saved for this. I fought for this. And I'd do it all again. The pedestal finally walked away and the statue came crashing